Hello, and welcome back to the deep dive.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, if you are joining us today, you might be commuting to work right now, or you might be sweating it out at the gym, or maybe just maybe you are sitting at a desk with a textbook open.
Staring at a page of grammar rules.
Exactly, just staring at it, trying to make sense of the English language.
We have all been there.
We really have. And if that last one is you, I want you to do me a huge favor right now. Close the textbook.
Just shut it.
Seriously, just push it aside. Because today we are doing something a little bit different. And I am honestly so excited about it.
Good too.
Usually, we take these massive complex topics on this show, geopolitics or tech trends or ancient history, and we kind of crush them down into bite-sized pieces. But today
we are slowing things down.
We are slowing it way down, just a little bit of a different pace. We are tailoring this specific deep dive entirely for the learner.
That is right. And when we say the learner, we are talking about you, the person listening right now who might be actively polishing their English skills. Yeah.
Or maybe you just love diving into other cultures, but you want the information to be clear. You want it accessible.
Not moving a mile a minute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We want to respect the actual process of learning today, so no rushing.
Exactly right. We want to be your guides. We are not just going to throw information at you and expect you to catch it. We are going to walk through it with you step by step.
And the topic we have on the table today is just absolutely fantastic.
It really is, because it does something I didn't actually think was possible. It takes two completely different worlds and smashes them together.
It does.
On one hand, we have the ancient mystical traditions of the Chinese zodiac, specifically the year of the horse.
Right.
And it mashes that up with one of the most notoriously annoying parts of English grammar.
Oh, the present perfect tense.
The dreaded present perfect.
It's the one everyone hates.
I have done. She's seen. It is the tense that honestly haunts my nightmare sometimes. But somehow, the source material we're looking at today makes it work.
It really does.
It actually makes it, dare I say, fun. I think we can say fun. We are looking at a 3-part series today from a source called Mario's English Channel.
Yeah.
And it features 2 speakers, Emily and Paul.
They're great.
They are. Emily is sort of the guide. She is the teacher figure.
Yeah.
Very prepared and very knowledgeable.
And Paul, Paul is basically the perfect stand-in for the learner.
He really is. He is very enthusiastic. He tries incredibly hard, but, he makes mistakes.
This is normal.
Completely normal. And through their conversation about Chinese culture, we actually get a complete masterclass in how to talk about life experiences.
So it is really a dual mission today for us.
Yeah.
On one hand, we're going to explore the personality and the spirit of the horse. Things like speed and freedom and energy.
The fun stuff.
The fun stuff.
Right.
But on the other hand, we are going to decode the grammar that they use to describe those traits.
Right.
So by the end of this hour, our goal is that you aren't just culturally richer,
Yeah.
Learning about dumplings and lucky colors.
Though we will cover those.
We will definitely cover those. But we also want you to be linguistically sharper. We want you to understand why we say things the way we do in English.
We are going to slow it all down, unpack the nuance, and really look at the mechanics of the language right alongside the culture.
So buckle up, or I guess saddle up.
Oh, boy.
See what I did there? Saddle up for the horse.
I saw it. I think it was inevitable, honestly.
I had to do it. So we have a clear roadmap for you today. First, we are going to unpack the personality of the horse person.
Are you independent? Are you energetic?
Right. Then we're going to look at the lucky traditions, the colors, the food, the specific rituals. We will even talk about some famous horses in history.
People like Isaac Newton and Jackie Chan.
And we will see if they actually fit the profile.
And finally, we'll break down a very specific Chinese idiom that is essentially the secret formula for success.
The secret to success. I love that part.
Yeah.
And all the while, as we go through this, I want you to pay close attention to how we talk about these things.
We are going to deliberately mirror the grammar lesson from the source,
focusing on that distinct connection between the past and the present.
So let's just unpack this.
Yeah, let's start right at the beginning with the big picture. The source material obviously centers on the year of the horse.
Right.
Now, the zodiac has 12 different animals, 12 of them. Why are we zooming in on this specific one? What makes the horse the best vehicle for this grammar lesson?
It is a really great question to start with. Why not the year of the cat? or the year of the badger.
I don't think there is a year of the badger.
Well, no, but you get the point. According to Emily in our source, it really comes down to history and utility.
Okay.
We have to remember that for thousands of years, horses weren't just pets. They weren't just cute animals you kept in a stable to look at.
No, they were essentially the engines of human society.
Exactly. They were the engines before we had cars, before we had trains, before airplanes.
If you wanted to move anywhere, you needed a horse.
You needed a horse? They were the ultimate technology of their time. They helped people travel vast distances. They helped people work the land. They were absolutely essential for movement.
Right.
And because of that deep historical utility, the symbol of the horse became inextricably linked to these powerful concepts: speed freedom and strength.
It makes perfect sense. If your very survival depends on this animal moving you from point A to point B, that animal naturally becomes a symbol of progress.
Paul, who is the learner in our source material, he actually mentions this really beautiful visual image. He talks about the idea of running free across a field.
Oh, I remember that part.
That visual is so important to keep in mind. It perfectly sets the tone for the horse personality. If you were born in the year of the horse, the cultural implication is that you are not just sitting still.
You possess that spirit of movement.
Yes.
You are definitely not a couch potato. You are ready to go.
So let's dig into that specific personality profile.
Let's do it. If someone tells me, hey, I was born in 1990, or maybe 2002, and I look it up and I see, oh, they are a horse.
Right.
What am I supposed to assume about them? The sources highlight a few key attributes, right?
They do. The first and perhaps the most defining trait of all is independence.
Independence.
But we need to be very, very careful with how we interpret that specific word, especially for our English learners tuning in.
Why is that? What is tricky about the word independent?
Well, in English, the word independent can sometimes have a slightly negative connotation if you use it in the wrong context.
Oh, like a loner?
Exactly. It can mean a loner or someone who is maybe antisocial or someone who is so stubborn they refuse any help from anyone.
Right, they just push people away.
But that is absolutely not what the source is getting at here when they talk about the zodiac.
So how do they define independence in the context of the year of the horse?
They define it simply as not waiting.
Not waiting.
A horse person doesn't sit around and wait for permission to do something. They don't wait for the group to reach a consensus on what to do. If they want to go, they just go.
They are self-starters.
It is all about being a self-starter, yes.
Paul actually gives a really funny and very specific example of this from his own life in the source. He talks about living on his own for 5 years.
He does, and this is actually where we get our very first hook into the grammar lesson today. He talks about learning to cook.
I related to this part so much. He admits that he has learned to cook for himself. Now, he clarifies, and I really love this little detail, he clarifies that his cooking isn't exactly Michelin star quality.
No, he's not a master chef.
He is not making these elaborate gourmet meals every single night.
He literally says it isn't always good.
Right. But the quality isn't the point, is it?
No, the quality of the food is completely beside the point. The point is the action itself. He didn't wait for a partner or a parent to come and feed him. He was hungry, so he figured it out.
He took care of his own needs.
Exactly. That is the pure horse spirit of independence right there.
And this is exactly where we hit that grammar snag we promised to talk about. You just said he has learned to cook.
I did.
And Paul, in the source, says, I have learned to cook.
Yes.
Why not just say, I learned to cook? Just normal, simple past tense. He started 5 years ago. It is done. Why do we need that extra word?
This right here is the absolute crux of the entire episode, and it is arguably the hardest thing for learners to fully grasp. This is the present perfect tense.
Okay, let's break it down.
If I say he learned to cook using the simple past, it feels like a finished historical fact. It feels completely detached from the present moment.
Like it has nothing to do with right now.
Exactly. It is like saying, I learned to play the recorder in 3rd grade.
Right, which means you probably can't play it now.
Exactly. It is a dead fact. It is trapped in the past.
Okay, I see that difference. I learned it. It is over and done with.
But when Paul says, I have learned to cook, he is deliberately building a bridge.
A bridge between when and when.
Between the past and the present. Okay. He started learning 5 years ago, sure. But the skill itself is in his hands right now, today. The result is current.
So I have learned implies I know how to do this today.
Yes. It is part of who I am right now.
That is such a vital distinction for learners to understand. It is really about relevance. It is about your current identity.
Precisely. It is the tense of identity. You as a person are the sum of what you have done. So the horse trait of independence isn't just some past event that happened once. It is a current active state that is described by past actions.
Okay, so trait number 1 is independence, the self-starter who has learned to take care of themselves. Let's look at the second trait. The source uses this specific phrase, go, go, go.
This is the trait of energy. And they introduce a specific vocabulary word here, which I think is just great for learners to practice out loud.
What is the word?
Energetic.
Energetic. It is a great word.
It really is. And for our learners listening, pronunciation is totally key here. English is what we call a stress-timed language. You can't just say every single syllable with the exact same weight.
You sound like a robot if you do that.
Right. You have to hit the stress on the correct syllable.
So for energetic, where does the stress go?
It hits that third syllable. Energetic.
Energetic.
Yes.
Energetic. Got
Yeah,
it.
perfect.
So Paul says he feels energetic because he has had his morning coffee and he went to the gym, which honestly, good for him. If I go to the gym early in the morning, I usually just need a massive nap afterwards.
I am the same way. But the contrast Emily brings up here is really interesting. She admits that she feels tired. And why is she tired? Because she has worked late.
She has worked. There is that tense again.
Yes. But notice the dynamic happening here. She is tired, but she's actually still exhibiting the horse personality.
How so? If she is tired, isn't that the opposite of energetic?
Not necessarily. Because her fatigue comes from action. She didn't get tired from sitting around being bored. She got tired from intense exertion. The horse personality is fundamentally high output.
Ah, I see.
Even when they're exhausted, it is usually a direct result of that internal drive to just keep moving.
So they aren't these boundless magical batteries that never ever run out. They're just engines that run really hot.
That is a great way to put it. They burn a lot of fuel.
Okay, so we have independence and we have energy. Now, this third trait the source talks about sort of contradicts the first one in my mind. We said they are independent. We pictured them running free all alone in a field. But the source also claims they are incredibly social.
This surprised me too when I first looked at the source material. We so often picture that Lone Ranger archetype when we think of horses, especially in the West.
Yeah, the cowboy riding off alone.
Right. But in the Chinese zodiac, the horse is very much a herd animal. They love the crowd. They absolutely love the attention.
Emily mentions that they love to talk and make people laugh. She actually goes so far as to compare them to comedians.
Comedians. Just think about that comparison for a second. To be a successful comedian, you have to stand up in front of a room full of strangers, which obviously takes a lot of independence and bravery. But you also have to command their attention and make them feel something. You have to be talkative, you have to be quick-witted, and maybe even a little bit loud.
That requires a massive amount of energy. It's very yang energy, right? Yeah. Outward projecting.
Exactly. So the horse person is the one at the party who's standing in the middle of the room, telling the big story, holding court, making absolutely everyone laugh.
But they didn't need a ride to the party.
No. They drove themselves because they are fiercely independent. But once they are there, they are the total life of the room.
It is a really unique blend of self-sufficiency and social charisma. They don't strictly need the crowd to survive, but they really enjoy having the crowd there so they can shine.
That is a perfect summary of the personality.
Yeah, before we move on to the traditions, because I really, really want to talk about the socks and the dumplings, I want to do a proper deep dive into the grammar tool we have been using.
Let's do it.
We touched on, I have learned, and she has worked. But let's really formalize this for the learner who is listening.
Let's break down the mechanics. The source provides a very simple formula for the present perfect.
It is have or has plus a past word.
Now, past word is the simplified term that the speakers Emily and Paul use. But for the grammar nerds out there, or just for the sake of accuracy, this is technically called the past participle.
Past participle. It always sounds like a medical condition to me. I'm sorry to tell you, but you have a bad case of past participle.
It really does sound scary when you say it like that. But it is actually quite simple once you see the pattern in English. In English, verbs usually have 3 forms. Let's take the verb to see.
Okay. Form 1 is the base, right?
No.
See? Like, I see you.
Correct. Form 2 is the simple past. Saw. I saw you yesterday.
And form 3?
That is the participle. Seen.
Seen. So the formula becomes I have seen.
Exactly. You can never say I have saw. That will immediately mark you as a beginner. It jumps out as a very obvious mistake to a native ear. It is always I have seen, I have eaten, I have gone.
And the why is so crucial here. As we said earlier, Emily explains that we use this for things that started in the past but are still true or still important right now.
Let's look at the specific examples from the source again. Paul says, I have always loved the idea of running free.
I have always loved. So he started loving it, say, 10 years ago, and he still loves it right now in this exact moment.
Right. If he just said, I loved it using the simple past, it implies that he stopped. Like if I say I loved Pokemon when I was 10.
The implication there is that you do not care about Pokemon anymore.
Exactly. The love is dead. But I have loved carries that feeling forward, right to the present moment. It keeps the emotion alive.
Here's another one from the text. I have learned about many animals.
He is still learning. The knowledge is in his head right now. It is a core part of his life experience. This is exactly why the present perfect is the ultimate storytelling tense when you are talking about your own life. It connects who you were to who you are today.
I have lived on my own. That defines his current adult status based entirely on his past actions.
Precisely. And the source actually makes a point of asking the listener to practice this out loud. It is interactive. They want you to say, I have enjoyed.
So to everyone listening to us right now, try it in your head or speak out loud if you are alone in the car. Think of something you enjoy. Say, I have enjoyed this podcast. Hopefully you have anyway.
I have learned a new word. It is a very empowering tense because it allows you to literally claim your past experiences as active assets that you own right now.
Okay, so we have got the personality down, energetic, independent, social.
Yeah.
And we've got the grammar down, connecting the past to the present.
Right.
Now let's move to the visuals. Because in part 2 of the source material, the atmosphere changes completely.
Yes. They describe a very clear setting change. Paul is sitting at a desk, but it is not just a messy work desk anymore. He has actually decorated it for the festival.
He has got a gold horse statue on the desk. He's got red envelopes scattered all around. It sounds very festive.
Yep.
And he's wearing very specific socks.
The socks, this is such a great detail. He specifically mentions he's wearing lucky green socks.
Now I have to ask you about this. Why green? Whenever I think of Chinese New Year, I always associate it with red. Red lanterns, red envelopes, red firecrackers. Where does green come into play?
This is a detail the source gets exactly right, and it adds a really nice layer of cultural depth. While red is definitely the general color of the festival, it symbolizes luck, and it is meant to scare away the monster Nian.
Right.
Specific years and specific animals have their own unique lucky colors. For the year of the horse, the specific lucky colors are green and yellow.
Okay, so Paul is wearing green socks to invite luck specifically tailored for his zodiac sign.
Exactly. It is all about alignment. You are trying to align yourself with the specific fortune of that year. It's a small gesture. Nobody really sees your socks hidden in your shoes.
Right. It is personal.
But it is a personal ritual to start the year right.
So if you are a horse, listen to this, or maybe you just want some of that fast horse luck this year, maybe get yourself a bright yellow shirt or some green socks, just like Paul.
It is all about inviting that fortune in. And speaking of inviting fortune in, we have to talk about the sweeping tradition. This is one of the most famous Chinese New Year customs, and the source creates a really funny little dialogue around it.
The idea is that you have to completely clean your house before the new year actually starts.
Right. It is basically non-negotiable in the culture. The symbolism behind it is that the normal dust and dirt in your house represent the old qi.
The old energy.
Old bad luck and stagnant energy of the previous year. So you have to physically sweep it out the door to make empty space for the new luck to enter.
If your house is already full of old, dusty bad luck, there's literally no room for the new blessings to fit inside.
Exactly. But here is the great contrast between our two speakers in the source. Emily, who is the very responsible teacher character, she says, I have washed the windows. I have organized my bookshelf. She is completely ready.
She is prepared. She has done the hard work. And then there is Paul.
And then there is Paul.
Paul admits quite shamefully, I might add I have not cleaned my kitchen in 3 days.
And that right there is a totally perfect segue into the negative form of our grammar lesson.
It really is. Paul's messiness becomes a great teaching moment for us. To make the present perfect tense negative, all you have to do is just add the word not.
I have not cleaned. She has not visited. I have not seen. It is a very simple construction. But I want you to notice the nuance here again.
What is the nuance this time?
Well, think about it. If Paul just said, I didn't clean my kitchen using the simple past, it sounds like a closed case. He didn't do it, the time is up, end of story.
Right.
But when he says, I have not cleaned it, it implies a little word. Yet.
Oh, I have not cleaned it yet. There is a lingering possibility.
It keeps the window of action open. I have not done it. Strongly suggests that he knows he really should do it, and maybe he still will do it before the new year arrives.
Yeah.
It describes his current state, the state of standing in a dirty kitchen, rather than just a past failure to clean.
It is basically the not yet tense. I have not seen that new movie. I have not been to Paris. It actively implies that you might still go and do those things.
Exactly. It is a strangely optimistic sort of negative in a way. So Paul has a very dirty kitchen right now, but he also has hope.
There is always hope, even for Paul's kitchen. Now, from cleaning to eating, this is my absolute favorite topic. The source gets into the specific food of prosperity. Dumplings.
Jazzy. Dumplings are absolutely essential for the festival, but the source goes into great detail about why we eat them. It is not just because they taste amazing, which obviously they do.
They are delicious.
But it is actually about the shape.
Paul talks about his neighbor, Mrs. Chen, teaching him how to carefully fold the dough, and she calls the process a piece of art.
And the specific shape they fold them into is meant to resemble old Chinese money. The gold ingots. They are sort of boat-shaped, curved up at the two ends. So the symbolism is very direct here. You are essentially eating money.
Well, you are eating the symbol of money, not actual coins.
Correct. By eating the dumplings, you are symbolically inviting wealth and prosperity into your life and directly into your body.
And Paul, being Paul, takes this symbolism very literally. He makes a joke that he has eaten 20 dumplings in one single sitting.
I have eaten 20 dumplings.
And he genuinely asks Emily, does this mean I will be very, very rich?
And Emily just roasts him. She is so quick. She says, maybe it just means you have a very big stomach.
It is a great, funny moment. But it really reinforces the cultural joy of the season. It is all about abundance. You don't sit down and eat just one dumpling for the new year. You eat many of them.
But there's another very important layer here, too, the community aspect. Paul didn't just learn to make these dumplings from watching a random YouTube video by himself. He learned directly from his neighbor, Mrs. Chen. He says she has taught me.
That phrasing again is crucial. She has taught me.
Think about the connection there. The actual teaching event is over. She showed him how to fold the dough in the past. But the knowledge remains with him right now. And the social link between them exists right now. That is the true beauty of the present perfect tense for describing social connections. It keeps the relationship alive in the grammar itself.
It creates a lasting bond. And speaking of human bonds, there is another massive side to the festival mentioned in the source material. It's not just about the food and the money and the luck. It is really about connection. They talk about the Great Migration.
Chunyun, this is such a profound point. The source describes it accurately as the biggest migration in the entire world. Hundreds of millions of people traveling simultaneously across the country.
And the goal for all of that movement is incredibly simple: to see family.
Emily shares her own personal experience here. She says, I have traveled during this time. She freely admits that it is incredibly crowded, it is chaotic, the trains are totally packed with people, but she focuses entirely on the emotion of it. She says she feels deeply moved seeing older parents reunite with their grown children at the stations.
That part really grounds the whole discussion for me. It is not just about fun superstitions or zodiac traits. It is about that deep, fundamental human need to be physically with your people. The horse energy of movement, the traveling, riding the packed trains, it is all used here to restore the family unit.
That is a really beautiful way to look at it. You need that independent, strong horse energy just to survive the exhausting journey so that you can show up and support the family when you finally arrive.
And grammatically speaking, this section is perfect because it helps us distinguish between have and has.
Right. Because up until now, we have been talking a lot about I have and they have. But what about the third person? What about when we talk about Mrs. Chen or the year of the horse itself?
The source clarifies this rule very clearly for learners. For he, she, or it, we always use has.
She has taught me. My mom has bought a new red dress. The horse here has brought us joy.
It sounds like such a simple rule, but it is genuinely the most common mistake for English learners, saying things like, she have gone.
It just hits the ear wrong. It is almost physically uncomfortable for a native speaker to hear that mistake. It is like playing a totally wrong note on a piano during a song. So the source really drills this point. He has, she has, it has.
Okay, so we have cleaned the house, we have eaten the 20 dumplings, we have practiced our grammar rules. Now let's actually look at the horses themselves. The source poses a really interesting theory. Does the year you were born really change who you are as a person?
It is the classic nature versus nurture debate, but with a fun zodiac twist. To test this theory out, The sources bring out a list of very famous people who were all born in the year of the horse. And I have to say, looking at the list, it is pretty convincing.
It really is. Let's start with the heaviest hitter on the list, Isaac Newton.
Born in 1642, year of the horse, the man who literally defined gravity for us.
Now, when you normally think of Isaac Newton, you probably think genius. You think of a quiet guy sitting under an apple tree getting hit on the head by an apple. I definitely don't think of a galloping wild horse. So how does he possibly fit the horse profile we just built?
You have to look back at the core traits we discussed earlier. Independence, hard work. Newton was famously solitary in his work. He worked completely alone for very long periods of time. He didn't wait around for other scientists to give him the answers. He didn't wait to form a committee or a team. He just sat down and did the complex math himself.
Wow, that is actually the ultimate independent trait, isn't it?
It is, and look at his impact. The source uses the present perfect beautifully here again to describe it. He has changed the way we understand gravity.
He has changed. Now wait, Newton died hundreds of years ago. Why would we not just say he changed it in the simple past tense?
Because we're still using his math today. His influence isn't dead and gone. It is right here with us right now. Every single time we drop an object, we are essentially living in Newton's world. The apple is still falling, so to speak.
That is the power of the tense right there. It keeps him alive in our current reality. Okay, who else is on the list? We've got Aretha Franklin.
The legendary Queen of Soul, born in 1942.
An absolute powerhouse of a singer. Does she fit the horse profile?
High energy, check. Loves being the center of attention, check. I mean, you don't get the title queen by being a quiet wallflower. She demanded respect. She completely commanded every room she walked into.
The source says she has won many Grammys. She has inspired millions.
And again, her voice is still inspiring people today, right this very second. The action of inspiring hasn't stopped just because she has passed away. Her musical legacy is incredibly present. She completely embodies that strength aspect of the horse symbolism. Horses are very powerful physical animals. Aretha was a very powerful vocal presence.
And then we get to maybe the most literal example of the active horse energy on the entire list, Jackie Chan.
Oh, I love this example so much. The source highlights him as the ultimate energetic personality.
I mean, he famously does all of his own stunts. He moves incredibly fast. But the source points out something else about him that is key, his resilience. It says he has broken many bones.
Ouch. But yes, very true.
But he never stops. That is the key line they focus on in the source.
Yeah.
He never stops.
It perfectly captures the endurance aspect of the horse. It is not just about explosive speed, it is about stamina. A horse can run for a very long time. Jackie Chan has had an intense physical career spanning decades, and he is physically putting his body on the line the entire time.
And the grammar here, too. He has broken bones. It implies that this danger is just an accepted part of his life experience.
Yeah.
It is almost like a badge of honor for him. It is not he broke his leg once in 1985 and quit. It is he is a man who has broken bones and just kept on going.
It defines his core character through his accumulated past experiences.
They also very briefly mention Cindy Crawford on the list, implying that same level of career longevity and fierce independence in her field. It is a really strong list.
It constantly connects back to that core idea of freedom and speed. These aren't people who sat around and waited for permission to succeed. They just went out and took it.
I want to throw a little bit of a curveball at you here. The source obviously doesn't mention him, but based purely on these traits we have listed, speed, center of attention, solo performance. Who else do you think would be a horse?
Oh, we're just guessing completely blind. I would look for athletes immediately. Specifically, solo athletes, not team players.
What about Usain Bolt?
The fastest man in the world. I would definitely have to check his birth year, but spiritually speaking, absolutely. He is a massive showman. He is totally independent in his own lane, and he is quite literally pure speed.
Well, I actually just checked before we started recording. Usain Bolt was born in 1986.
Okay, so is he a horse?
He is actually a tiger.
Ah, a tiger. Well, to be fair, tigers are incredibly energetic and fast too, but close.
See, this is exactly why we have the sources to rely on. We can't always just guess.
Yeah.
But it is really fun to try to fit people into these ancient archetypes. It gives you this interesting framework to try and understand human behavior. Like, why is that guy so restless all the time? He must be a horse.
It is essentially a personality test that has been around for thousands of years. And unlike some of the modern personality tests, this one comes with really cool animal avatars.
Very true. I would much rather be a galloping horse than a strictly Myers-Briggs acronym any day.
Saying I am an ENFP just doesn't look quite as cool on a graphic t-shirt as a wild horse does.
Completely agreed. And this actually leads us perfectly to the final major piece of the source material. We have covered the history, the culture, the grammar, the people. Now we need the secret to success. This is a very specific idiom that Emily teaches to Paul at the end.
Right. The phrase is ma dao chengong.
Ma dao chengong. I just love how that sounds. Can we break that down a bit? It sounds very rhythmic.
It is a classic four-character Chinese idiom. Chinese is very famous for these concise phrases called qingyu. So let's break it down word by word. Ma means horse.
Okay.
Dao means to arrive. Cheng means to accomplish or to succeed. And gong means the result or the achievement.
So literal translation is horse arrives, success accomplished.
Roughly translated, it means when the horse arrives, success is achieved.
That is very poetic. Where does a phrase like that even come from?
It comes directly from an ancient military context. In ancient times, imagine a great general leading an army out of the city to fight a distant battle. If his war horse was seen returning to the city gates, it immediately implied that the battle was over and they had won. So the physical arrival of the horse was the immediate notification of victory.
But obviously today we don't usually ride horses back from military battles. So how is it used in modern conversation?
Today it is mostly used as a very positive wish for instant success, or succeeding quickly and easily. If you have a friend who is starting a brand new business, or maybe they are about to take a really hard test, you might say this phrase to them. They hope your success arrives as fast as a galloping horse.
Paul actually gives a very personal application of this concept in the source, and I think it is really relatable for anyone who is actively learning a new skill. He talks about learning to play the guitar.
Oh, the plateau phase of learning.
Right, exactly. He practiced every single day. He says, I have practiced. But he felt like he just wasn't getting anywhere at all. The progress was so slow, it was painful.
And then what happened?
And then suddenly, out of nowhere, success arrived. He sat down and he played the song perfectly from start to finish. It was that massive aha moment.
That is the ultimate ma dao cheng moment. But notice, and this is the critical takeaway from Emily in the source, the horse didn't just arrive by pure magic. It arrived because he had been sitting there practicing every single day.
The rapid arrival happened only after the slow, grueling work.
Exactly. You simply cannot have the rapid arrival of success without the long journey of effort preceding it. The idiom wishes for speed, sure, but it always assumes that you are out there doing the hard work.
That connects perfectly back to the horse personality of being incredibly hardworking.
Yeah.
You run the race first, and then you get the success.
That is such a vital lesson for our language learners listening today. You sit there and you study grammar, you listen to English podcasts like this one, and you often feel like you are totally stuck. You feel like you are just walking slowly. You are not riding a fast horse.
But you're actively building the path. And one day, you will just open your mouth to speak to someone, and the perfect English sentence will just flow right out. You will say, I have learned this. And that right there is your horse moment.
Success has finally arrived. The horse has made it back to the city gates.
That is a truly beautiful metaphor for language learning. It is a long, tough ride, but the arrival is so worth it.
And the present perfect tense is essentially the daily logbook of that long journey. I have studied, I have practiced, I have arrived.
So let's bring it all back together now. We have looked at this fascinating topic from every possible angle today. We've journeyed through the symbolism, the complex grammar, the delicious food, the deep history. What is the one big takeaway for our learner listening right now?
I really think it boils down to the concept of active identity. If we look at the source material as a whole, there is a very consistent theme running through it. It is all about movement and ownership. Culturally speaking, the horse is entirely about action, running, sweeping the house, traveling on trains, working hard. And grammatically speaking, the present perfect tense is entirely about an active past. It is not dead history, it is living, breathing experience.
That is a really fascinating connection to make. The grammar itself is a bridge. It moves us constantly from then to right now.
It shows that our past actions aren't dead. They are vibrantly alive in who we are today. When you combine the culture and the grammar, the underlying message is to boldly own your experiences. Don't just say, I studied English once upon a time. Say, I have studied English. Carry that hard-earned knowledge with you as a current valuable asset.
You aren't just a former student. You are a current possessor of knowledge.
Precisely. You are someone who has done the work.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
So let's just recap the specifics one last time before we let these wild horses run free for the day.
Culturally, the horse represents speed, freedom, and strength. The lucky colors to wear are green and yellow, And you should definitely eat plenty of dumplings to invite wealth into your life.
Grammatically, always remember to use have or has plus the past word to describe past experiences that still matter right now.
And please don't forget the hopeful negative form, I have not yet.
And finally, the mindset. Try to be independent. Try to be energetic. Be a little bit like Jackie Chan. Even if things get really tough and you face setbacks, just don't stop moving forward.
That is exactly the right spirit.
So here is our final challenge to you, the listener. We really want you to use this today. Look at your own life right now. Ask yourself, what have you done?
Have you learned a new English word today? Have you finally cleaned your kitchen?
Have you eaten a delicious dumpling?
If you have done any of those, you are completely on the right track.
And if you haven't done it yet, just proudly say, I have not done it. And then channel your inner horse, be fiercely independent, and go do it.
Be energetic, but maybe try very hard to avoid breaking any bones.
Yes, please definitely avoid the broken bones. The source ends with a really nice sign-off wishing success to all of you. And they actively encourage the listeners to use the grammar immediately, to physically write down what they have done.
It is a fantastic practical exercise. Just sit down and write out 3 things you have done today. See exactly how it feels to claim those small victories in English.
We are going to leave you with that empowering thought today. Keep running, keep learning, and always keep moving forward.
And seriously, maybe go clean your kitchen if you haven't done it in 3 days.
Yes, please do that. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. We really hope we have made the year of the horse a little bit clearer and the present perfect tense a little bit less terrifying for you.
It was an absolute pleasure. Go out there today and find your success. Maro Chenggong.
Maro Chenggong. We will see you next time.